And then the Palestine-Israeli issue at the moment. Um, I think it's fair to say, and I think most people need to start all conversations with this statement, which is this is a complicated issue. And I haven't got the time, the knowledge, or the intellect to fully understand the Palestine Israeli issue. And I'd be lying and I'd be fooling myself if I thought I speak from a point of authority. So, therefore, on the issue that's happening now, I really don't comment. Because A, it's not my concern to comment. I don't understand the issue. I understand the basic issues. We all know what's gone on. Um, I comment more on how it's affecting the UK. It's obvious from the marches and protests on the streets of the UK that our enemies, which are funded by foreign states, are using any opportunity to damage the UK. We saw it with Black Lives Matter. How can you have a march 3 years ago, Black Lives Matter, and on the day of the march, there's thousands of professionally printed signs in one day? Who's funded that? Who's organised that? And it's the same with the Free Palestine marches now. Most of the people marching are not supporters of terrorism. They're what Lenin said were useful idiots, jumping on a cause that they don't understand either. They think they're on the right side of history. Who wants to see people die? Who wants to see children die? Nobody. So it's an easy cause to jump on the back of. And in our culture now, we always need a good guy and a bad guy. And we always need an oppressor and the oppressed. And the Israeli-Palestine conflict fits into that through lots of people's eyes now. So what I'm seeing, I'm not liking on the
Okay.
streets of the UK. I'm
Let's
seeing I'm seeing my fellow citizens criticizing and sound like they hate the place where they live. And it's shown the big mistakes we've made with mass immigration, with no integration, and that's coming to the fore now.
let's talk about this. One of the reasons that this issue, right, this the October 7th and the Israel-Palestine conflict has kind of
Mm.
struck a chord across the Western world is because it touches on a lot of issues that we are having within our own culture, cultural battles that we are having today amongst ourselves. But I wanted to talk, and I guess I'll start with you, um, Buckley. Nick Buckley, which do you prefer, Nick Buckley?
Nick,
Nick's
Nick's fine.
fine. Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, Nick. Because in your statement there, there's some tension, right? Because you mentioned how you're free speech, you're involved in free speech, you're a free speech advocate, and yet when we look at the protests, first of the Black Lives Matter protest, and then now,
Yeah,
and I've seen your takes on the Armistice Day protests that they're planning for the pro-Palestine. You were
yeah.
pretty against that. Can you explain you
No,
understand that there's a
no.
tension there, right, between these takes, right? I believe in free speech, and
Yeah.
I don't want these people to protest. Does
No,
this?
you've not read that on any of my tweets.
There was one you made earlier today, was there not, about how you hope they
No,
try on the Armistice Day? You hope they're brave enough
no,
to
no,
try? Is that you?
no, absolutely. I
Okay.
hope they do march. I hope they do protest. I hope they do, because stopping them marching doesn't stop the problem. I want them to march. I want them to
Oh,
scream
okay.
and shout.
My bad then. Like, I apologize to you. I read it as a challenge, right? Like, oh, I hope you do.
Oh
You
no, no, no!
try it, right?
It absolutely is a challenge. I'm challenging him. I dare you to march on the streets. Come on, get out your houses, get on the streets in London, and disrespect the country. Because on this day, next weekend, that's not a normal day in the UK, and you will be confronted, and it may lead to violence. If we're going to have violence, which I don't want violence, but if we're going to have violence, let's have it today so we can live in peace tomorrow.
Mm.
The reason why they're so emboldened and the reason why they're marching is because they've misunderstood our tolerance and compassion as weakness and being pathetic. But we're a tolerant nation. And I'm challenging them now, march on that day and cause problems on that day, because that's what we need you to do. Because then we'll be able then to start dismantling your organizations, and we'll be able to show the rest of the country that you're anti-British, and we'll be able to deal with you then. At the
Is
moment, we keep
being
giving you a free
yeah,
pass.
is being pro-Palestine anti-British? Really?
No, oh no, no, not. So lots of people on the marches are not even pro-Palestine. Most of the people couldn't even find Palestine on the map. They're not pro-Palestine. They're just pro the latest thing I need to be pro about. Most people are sheep. They're marching, screaming slogans I don't understand the issue. And, a year ago, they were probably marching about Ukraine. And before that, they were marching for Black Lives Matter. Most people are idiots. So they're just marching because that's what they feel they have to do. But within those groups, there's some extremely nasty individuals who'd like to see the overthrow of the UK, overthrow of the West. Some of them will be Marxists and communists. Some of them will be radical jihadists. Some of them will be anarchists, and some of them are just mentally ill. So anybody now will jump on a cause if they think it's going to damage what they perceive as the evil empire, which is the West, which is the West.